In recent years, social media has become an integral part of how we present ourselves to the world. It has permeated our daily lives with humor, controversies, and fashion. With platforms like Instagram and TikTok, this presentation has settled into a phenomenon known as trends and aesthetics. These have both played a significant role in the creation and curation of online identities. However, this constant need to keep up with the latest trends and aesthetics can have both positive and negative impacts on the development of the teens who consume this content. On one hand, it can be empowering to find communities and express yourself through objects inspired by the internet. On the other, the pressure to conform to certain standards and aesthetics may have detrimental effects on an adolescent's sense of identity and self-worth during the most formative years. During today's internet era, the true priorities and small things in life are often overlooked in favor of the sense of belonging and fitting in. Social media has affected the very way we live our lives, dwarfing the groundedness and reality that can be found when it is turned off. Today, we will delve into both the positive and negative impacts that trends and aesthetics can have on teen development, what they can tell us about the mental state of our world's youngest minds, and place emphasis on the importance of unplugging and accepting your life as it is.
The darker side to the persuasive tricks used by the biggest platforms.
Social media addiction has been linked to anxiety and sleep deprivation.
And research shows alarming effects it's having on teenage girls.
Teens who spent excessive time on social media got less sleep and exercise, which are directly related to mental health issues.
Frequently checking social media may change the brains of young teenagers.
Okay, we get it. It's no secret that the internet has historically had a bad reputation for its effects on adolescents. In today's digital age, teens are becoming increasingly dependent on access to sites such as TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. Data from the past year shows that nearly 50% of teens say they use social media almost constantly, with another 48% claiming to use it at least several times a day. These apps have become the dominant source of information about real-world events, updates on friends and family, and more. Developing within this obsession to social media sites has been the concept of trends. For the sake of clarity, we will focus on a specific type of social media trend, an aesthetic. By definition, an aesthetic is a set of principles underlying and guiding the work of a particular artist or artistic movement. It can also be simply concerned with beauty. Historically, philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle have delved into aesthetics in a slightly different way, relating the word more to a sensory experience rather than beauty. In 1750, the author Alexander Baumgarten presented the term in relation to taste of beauty, giving it the modern dictionary definition we know today. In the 18th and 19th centuries, aesthetics were widely discussed, but they were still heavily connected to the upper classes' tastes in art, beauty, and intelligence. It is only in the past 5 to 10 years or so that aesthetics have taken on a third meaning, one unique to Gen Z. An aesthetic has maintained its adjective usage for something that looks good, but is also used as a noun for a certain lifestyle or theme. It is this adaptation of an aesthetic within the terms of a lifestyle that has the strongest impact on self-expression. The most important thing to note is that an aesthetic differs from other common trends in that it does not represent a single piece of clothing, a song, or an object. It encompasses an entire identity, from the most surface level, such as clothing, makeup, and music taste, to the most hidden, personality traits, habits, and even goals and aspiration. An aesthetic can spawn from virtually anything: a profession, a piece of media, a historical time period, the list goes on and on. The pure abundance of these hyper-niche identities speaks to the innate adolescent need to find a sense of belonging and identity. As teens navigate this time, online identities such as these act as a way to attach to a popular version of yourself, fitting in with the millions of users who follow the given aesthetic. Green-level psychology teacher Mr. Thorpe spoke about the topic of fitting in relation to social media.
Anytime you're trying to fit in, even if it's just in person, it's still, you conform and you take note of what is acceptable or what is kind of implied or what is, trendy, like you said. So I think social media is just an extension of conformity in reality, because again, even when there was no social media, people were still conforming to societal trends and societal fads and things like that. So I definitely, I think it's just an extension of it. I think social media just adds to the sense of, like you said, the sense of belonging and connectedness that we all kind of seek as human beings. So
psychologists have long debated what exactly makes up an identity. Sociologists at the Berkeley Wellbeing Institute define it as a person's sense of self established by their unique characteristics, affiliations, and social roles. Just based on this definition alone, it can be seen what a huge part social groups and connections can make. In a study conducted by the University of Oregon, researchers found that the strongest factors which affect adolescents' sense of self are others' perceptions and beliefs about them. Although seemingly ironic, this value-based decision-making, which guides our own choices, stems from others' approval and how we wish to be perceived. Specific examples of this were demonstrated in an experiment by the sociologists from the Berlin School of Mind and Brain. They found that a significant factor of our identity came from the social groups with which we associate, specifically within the sphere of art. Changes in preferences to film, music, and classical art led to the most perceived threat to a stable identity. So with all of this in mind, what effects do these aesthetics have on teen self-esteem and self-perceptions? With aesthetics being basically stereotypes of different people, it is no surprise that they can have negative consequences on the easily influenced teens who consume hours of this content every day. As with most things on the internet, one problematic side of these online personas can be their homogeneous and stereotypical representations. Many favorable aesthetics are showcased with white faces in the forefront, and a majority of the time they fit the beauty standard and Eurocentric features. Remember, aesthetics derive from the perception of beauty, so for many centuries this paradigm was wealthy European families. The most glaring example of this is with the That Girl aesthetic, which almost solely highlighted skinny white women. Students at Green Level bring up other exclusionary examples they have seen through aesthetics.
I think a lot of times money plays a role in this, on the whole concept, like the rich girl aesthetic, like living in New York, and specific like clothing items are often expensive, and it's just not realistic.
If you've heard of like the whole coquette thing, kind of weird thing, and it leads a lot into like people really romanticizing being really skinny and like eating disorder stuff, and obviously that is not good.
These harmful stereotypes and a lack of inclusion reinforces notions that may negatively impact teens' perceptions of themselves. With the extreme comparison constantly occurring on social media sites, they may feel the need to change their appearance in ways that can be unhealthy and unrealistic. Furthermore, these aesthetics do not only affect teen girls. While the majority of these trends are geared towards women, there's also the popular concept of men fitting either into the masculine aesthetic or the intelligent and fashionable aesthetic. These two spheres, similarly to female identities, reinforce notions of expected masculinity and a need to perform for the internet. In the same way that skinny model-like body types are praised for women, an unrealistic physique is praised for men, which can contribute to body image issues and disordered eating. In the age following the COVID-19 pandemic, many teens turned to social media to discover their own likes and dislikes. Teen girls especially noted how different aesthetics can expose them to clothing which they can incorporate into their lives.
A lot of the content that I see on social media, whether it be Instagram, Pinterest, or TikTok, is usually what influencers post about their fashion, inspo, and that sort of thing. So I feel like it's affected me with how I dress, the things that I like to do during my free time, and that sort of stuff. I like it for inspiration on outfits, but I don't really full on copy and paste certain situations.
While it is certainly true that these online identities can help form the natural self-development of teens, this subject can quickly cross a line when this consumption turns onto autopilot. Undoubtedly, the biggest negative impact of social media aesthetics is that they characterize identities into stagnant frames. It's as if you find an aesthetic, lock into it, and then continue living in it for years. Aesthetics miss the most central aspect to identity development, its fluidity. To teens who are not comfortable with themselves or are unsure of their own identity, aesthetics can be extremely harmful as they provide a seemingly easy way to fit in at the expense of natural growth. This furthermore creates a false sense of reality for social media users. It may seem like everyone else is secured in their own identity and perfectly fitting in, when in reality we are all on the ever-continuing path of development. An additional aspect of this is that when constantly exposed to aesthetic lifestyles, realistic homes and environments may be seen as dull. social media only shows the highlights of people's lives, but when these highlights are so widespread, it may feel normalized. For example, here a user shows the differences between the aesthetic homes of social media and an average home. The curated sense of what is visually pleasing on the internet often does not align with a normal middle-class lifestyle, prompting users to give into consumerism and buy objects to fit in. So what does this all mean? Today we've learned that the presence of so-called aesthetics is a manifestation of the adolescent need to fit in and be perceived as modern and approachable. It has been established that these trends can have negative effects on both the men and women who consume this content, and that oftentimes can lead to harmful mental effects. It's safe to say that no matter what, the possibility of aesthetics and trends going away anytime soon is close to zero. What can be changed, however, is what we prioritize and how we spend our time with engaging with the internet. Many teens can't imagine what we might be like if social media didn't exist and impact our preferences. But taking small steps can help to break those societal influences and become in tune to what truly brings you happiness. Instead of shopping for clothes that you saw on TikTok and giving into microtrends, consider being open-minded and letting yourself buy what makes you feel the most like yourself. While social media will still be helpful for communication, take other things with a grain of salt. After all, its very premise depends on sharing what works for one person and expecting everyone else to follow. Instead, consider unplugging. Yes, I know, but just for one day, and see what you spend your time on. You may be surprised at just how much you'll learn about yourself when you don't have the expectations of 1,000 people gazing at you through your screen.